much of the Saudi Arabia hosted virtual G20 was in fact to do with sharing the vaccine with poorer countries.
It certainly was. And of course, a lot of people say this is an imperative. Let's be practical. Besides being altruistic, if you don't want the virus to continue to spread around the world, you probably have to stop it just about everywhere in the world, unless you want to completely close your borders forever. And in fact, the G20 leaders said they'll spare no effort to ensure affordable and equitable access to the vaccine. They said extensive immunization to stop the virus is a public good. The Saudi king, in fact, remember this was held in Saudi Arabia, saying that it's a top priority to ensure affordable and equitable access to the tools for everyone out there. Now, when Donald Trump took his turn, he said that he was just up and down praising the U.S. Now, you see a lot of shots of people speaking at the G20 summit. It was a virtual summit. And of course, the U.S. wasn't the only place where a leader of the country praised his country's efforts. But the difference is that Donald Trump, while praising the leadership, said it helped bolster the global economy, didn't say anything in particular about sharing with the rest of the world. Now, Vladimir Putin, interestingly enough, even though there's not enough vaccine yet to vaccinate the entire population in his country, he offered to share it with the rest of the world, share it with the poorer countries. Of course, Angela Merkel, interestingly enough, said she's a little bit concerned about what's going to happen, basically, if the money runs out. She said Germany can't continue to hold this global alliance of developing countries together. She wonders what's going to happen then. So I think it's still a very big topic. Had Trump thrown in his hat in the ring of helping to ensure that it goes to the poorer nations, that certainly would have been a very positive signal. At the same time, I think maybe behind the scenes a bit, people are wondering where all the money will come from, knowing full well that many countries who develop this vaccine and have it for their own population are maybe going to have a tough time being willing to share it with the rest of the world, particularly the poorest in the world who can't afford to develop these vaccines themselves.
And Kathleen, President Trump also going against the G20 tide on climate change.
Well, you know, not such a surprise there, is it, Sherry, because he's already taken the U.S. out of the Paris Accord agreement, and he did slam it again, even as the president of China, Xi Jinping, said the G20 should fight climate change and take the lead in implementing the Paris Accord. But Trump said he walked away from the accord mainly to help American workers. Let's listen to one of the key statements he made when he spoke at the G20. The Paris Accord was not designed to save the environment. It was designed to kill the American economy. I refuse to surrender millions of American jobs and send trillions of American dollars to the world's worst polluters and environmental offenders. And that's what would have happened. And this is kind of a veiled slam at China. He thinks China has been a big polluter. They're not doing enough to change that, Heidi. And he thinks that's another reason why the deal, the amount of money that the U.S. would have to pony up as one of the wealthiest nations in that agreement would have been too much. And there's others like China who he sees as plenty wealthy in many ways, who he thinks aren't. Anyway, maybe not any big surprises from Trump, but it certainly does underscore the positions he's taken in his 4-year presidency.